The soup is dead. Bury it. I guess Henry Cavill bleeds. Should we make fun of him? He's made a lot of money. We can make fun of him a little bit.
That mustache, though.
Right? Greg?
Donald.
We are going to talk about some news that's kind of bumming me out a little bit, actually. Something that I didn't think would bum me out, but I'm pretty bummed. But before we go into that, I want to say thank you to everyone who's been joining our Patreon page, people. We got weekly Q&As where we take a question from a patron, and then we do a full video response to it exclusively on Patreon. Yeah. And we also do TV show reactions that we post pretty much 6 days a week. I would love it if you guys could go check out our Patreon. Anyway, smooth transition. The first thing I saw an hour and a half ago when I woke up was Henry Cavill's not Superman anymore. Everyone's talking about it, man. Everyone's talking about it. This comes from the Hollywood Reporter. We're gonna read through this article. I wanted to say, man, Henry Cavill's got some of the weirdest career luck I've ever seen, man.
This does start to make you wonder if that Superman curse might be real, because it's been almost nothing but a mess since the beginning. I mean, like, Man of Steel is about the quietest moment the DCEU as a whole has had.
And Man of Steel was a good film. We've talked about Henry Cavill quite a bit, from going on other channels and talking here. I've said it before that it's not that I don't think the guy's a good actor. I just haven't seen him in anything, and I'm gonna preface this with I haven't seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E., which is the role everyone goes to for, like, you should have seen The Man from U.N.C.L.E. You know, from like the other big works I've seen him in, including Fallout. I haven't seen him in something where I'm like, wow, he really stole the show for me. He really stands out a lot. He's a powerful performer. He's usually just kind of stiff. He looks the part, but I like him. It's usually what I have with him. I'm like, I like him.
I've been waiting to see him in something that really gives him a whole lot to work with, because I don't doubt that he could nail that, you know?
And it's kind of weird how he has the Justice League debacle, and then that movie kind of flops. Fallout comes out, which is, I think, the most financially successful movie in the franchise now, which is good for him, and everyone's like, the mustache was worth it. And then this happens, and I'm like, dang, man, everyone's been trying to get a Man of Steel 2 with this. We've been wanting that for a long time, and now it looks like we're just not getting it. All right, let's go through this. Let's start from the top. Hollywood Reporter reports here, talks broke down for a cameo in Shazam due to scheduling conflicts, and the door is now closing on the other potential appearances for the actor. Henry Cavill, who has played Superman in 3 films, is parting ways with Warner Brothers. Warner's has been trying to enlist Cavill, who most recently co-starred in Mission Impossible Fallout, for a Superman cameo in Shazam. The contract talks between Cavill's WME rep and Warner Bros. Broke down. The door is now closing on other potential Superman appearances. The studio has shifted its focus to a Supergirl movie, which will be an origin story featuring a teen superheroine. This effectively removes an actor of Cavill's age from the storyline's equation, given that Superman, aka Kal-El, will be an infant, according to DC lore. The idea of him doing a cameo in Shazam is something that I'm not opposed against, actually. I don't think it would steal the show. I actually watched the DC animated film that was like only a half-hour long or something, for Shazam versus Black Adam, and you know, a lot of that lineage is linked with Superman in that specific animated film. So the idea of Superman being in there sounds like a cool prospect, but I could, you know, live or die without him. This part of the storyline, though,
and it's not like the movie franchises take the comic book lore like for 100% we have to stick to that. Like, they change things all the time, and I don't see why they couldn't change something like that, or at least adjust it.
Furthermore, Warner's isn't likely to make a solo Superman film for at least several years, according to another source. Superman is like James Bond, and after a certain run, you have to look at new actors, says a studio source. As such, Cavill will join Ben Affleck, and I've been seeing reports coming out this morning too, who isn't expected to reprise his role for director Matt Reeves' forthcoming Batman standalone film as a hero on the way out. Guys, look, Ben Affleck ain't coming back.
I highly doubt that.
All right, I think he's becoming too much of a liability at this point, you know, like, especially with the fact that he just went back into rehab. He keeps checking in and out of rehab.
Yeah, he's struggling right now, it seems like.
A Warner source says this Shazam deal fell apart because of scheduling conflicts, and that is backed up by the fact that Cavill recently signed on to star in the Netflix series The Witcher. I mean, that's cool. Maybe he was part of the Tudors.
I swear to all that is holy, all things worthy and good, and to you I will always be true.
I think that's when people really started to actually notice him. Like, hey, who's this guy? So, and doing The Witcher, a video game series, is, you know, and he's already part of the geekdom world in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
Pretty cool idea.
And I mean, with the enthusiasm that surrounded at least The Witcher 3, I gotta imagine that's probably a step up for him at this point.
There's a recognition that some parts of the previous movies didn't work, says a studio insider. Another source says Warner's is trying to hit a reset button with the DC universe, steering its ship slowly in another direction. Obviously, while Affleck and Cavill are segueing out, others who were seen together on screen in Justice League are carrying forward. Yes, I'm aware of all that stuff. Yeah, the Flash movie will never get made. I don't care what everyone says.
Well, and just a couple days ago, they were talking about whether or not the Cyborg movie would get dumped, and I feel like that of all of them probably has the worst chances because they've struggled this much with Flash, and that's a character people know really well. Yeah.
That cemetery.
What's weird is, in general, I'm not in love with the Superman character, even though I got the shirt. In general, I'm not in love with the Superman character.
Take that off.
Let's get it on.
And I'm not in love with what Henry Cavill's been given an opportunity to do with Man of Steel. I liked the trends. Some people thought it was weird in Justice League, but I actually really liked when he was really charming Superman in Justice League.
You're all too weak to see the truth.
Well, I believe in truth. But I'm also a big fan of justice.
So I was looking forward to more of that. I was like, man, if we get that Man of Steel 2 with more Superman energy, and he's got that Superman charm that he was showing off in Justice League, I'm pretty excited for that. Henry Cavill is constantly teetering on the line of, he's about to blow me away. But he hasn't quite done something that really hit the mark for me in that department. I'm weirdly bummed about this. Yeah, like,
I'm bummed for him, I guess.
Because I don't think he wanted to really land here, if that makes sense.
I feel like the DCEU for a lot of people has been like a sort of weird nightmare that was supposed to be a wonderful dream, you know?
Except for Gal Gadot.
Except for Gal Gadot, no, she's the one person who is killing it right now. But yeah, for everybody else, it seems to be one of those things where you're sold a dream and you get this sort of disappointing mess. Mostly, I'm bummed because I thought that I could just always see the potential for him to be a great Superman, and I don't think they ever gave him material that approached that potential. And so, yeah, it's a bummer that this whole DCEU seems to be kind of going that way with a couple exceptions. But at the same time, I'm like, I don't know how much better this is gonna get. Granted, they're gonna change stuff. Like, if they kept the course the same, I don't know how much better it would get, and I don't know how much better it's gonna get if they change stuff, but at this point, I think they need changes.
Well, it sounds like what they're doing is they're focusing on more female-led superhero films. You know, you got Wonder Woman 1984 coming out. You got Aquaman, who looks like a woman in some angles. No, you got Wonder Woman 1984, you got 14 Harley Quinn movies in development. If the sources are correct and they're shifting focus towards a Supergirl movie, my issue with all of this is it seems like a lot of these projects are going forward without having a clear-cut idea of who's going to be your Superman, who's going to be your Batman, and a DC universe without Superman and Batman seems kind of strange. It's like I feel like they'll exist in some way, and I know Matt Reeves is working on it. That's another project where I'm like, is this really gonna go through? Is this really gonna go through?
I wonder if that's gonna wind up in development hell too.
Kind of like doing a Venom movie without Spider-Man.
Yeah. All these weird decisions, and it seems like nobody can just get their shit together.
I'm a little bit bummed. I've heard of stories turning around. It sounds like there's some probably, they're saying scheduling conflicts. There's probably some contract negotiation problems.
Cameo.
Yeah, for a cameo, yeah.
I mean, some of the articles I read hinted toward the idea that negotiations turn around. Sometimes you hear things one way and then they come back a few months later and they're like, we figured it out.
Because this is the big talk, and we kind of live in this movie news internet world where the second something is rumored or being talked about, it becomes a headline.
The second somebody even thinks that he might be leaving, everyone's on top of it.
It becomes a headline.
There's even a 1% chance.
And Warner Brothers hasn't spoken on it themselves, or Henry Cavill hasn't come out about it himself. It's not entirely official yet.
What's going to happen is he's going to come out and say, no, I'm going to be Superman for a very long time. And then a month later, they're going to be like, it's official, he's out.
Yeah. All right, guys. Well, how do you feel about this news? Do you think we should get a new Superman? Tom Hardy. Idris Elba. Mark my words. Movie fights tomorrow.
Who should be the new
Who
Superman?
should be the new Superman.
Oh, get your answers ready.
All right.
Nicolas Cage, it's time.
Nicolas Cage, man, get your second shot, man. Let's do this. Well, thanks for watching. What do you guys think of this news? Are you bummed? You can subscribe to the Reject Nation, click that notification bell, and hey, check us out on Patreon. We got TV show reactions, Q&As, a bunch of goodies. Love to have you become Patronjic today.